The Pontianak, a documentary on the tragic spirit of Southeast Asia. Introduction. The Pontianak is one of the most feared and widely recognized spirits in Southeast Asian folklore, particularly in Malaysia, Indonesia, and Singapore. She is a ghostly figure that embodies tragedy, sorrow, and revenge. Her tale is a reflection of the consequences of untimely death and unresolved grief. Known as Kuntilanak in some versions of the tale, she was a young woman who, filled with joy and hope, was eagerly anticipating the birth of her child. However, her life was cut short by a difficult labor that resulted in her death. The child she carried was stillborn, adding to the grief of her passing. This documentary delves into the origins, characteristics, and role of the Pontianak in local cultures. Unable to find peace, she was transformed into a vengeful ghost known as the Pontianak. Her mouth opens unnaturally wide to reveal sharp razor-like teeth. Her eyes glow with an eerie light, often described as glowing red or white. The transformation from beauty to monstrosity symbolizes the way grief and sorrow can distort one's humanity. It is said that this scream is a warning, a sign that the Pontianak is nearby, and the closer the sound, the nearer she is to her victim. This scream serves as both a warning and a harbinger of doom. She is said to lure her victims in with her beauty, drawing them closer under the illusion that she is a harmless woman. She seeks revenge not only for her own death but also for the death of her unborn baby, punishing men whom she believes are responsible for the wrongs done to her. Her attacks are swift and brutal, and those who survive are often left with deep psychological scars as well as physical wounds. As they approach, the Pontianak's true form is revealed, and she attacks, often tearing out their throats or draining their life force, as the Pontianak is known to seek out men, particularly those who are alone. These include the placement of sharp objects such as nails or blades around the entrance to homes. The belief is that the Pontianak cannot pass through such barriers without stopping to inspect the sharp object, which gives the victim a chance to escape. She represents the consequences of injustice and the emotional toll of a death that is untimely or unexplained. These rituals are deeply embedded in the local belief systems, where they are thought to provide protection against vengeful spirits like the Pontianak. The story of the Pontianak serves as a cautionary tale about the importance of respecting life and the dangers of unresolved grief. Her tale is one that reflects cultural beliefs about the afterlife, the consequences of grief, and the ways in which the spirit world can manifest the unresolved emotions of the living. Whether feared as a malevolent entity or revered as a figure that embodies the sorrow of a lost mother, the Pontianak remains an enduring and significant part of Southeast Asian folklore. The scream itself is described as being so unsettling that it is instantly recognizable, sending waves of fear throughout those who hear it. Her body was no longer that of a mother, but a malevolent entity seeking vengeance for her untimely death, and a thirst for justice that transcends the boundaries of life and death. This transformation is rooted in the cultural belief that death during childbirth is both tragic and unjust, particularly in a time when mothers were more vulnerable to such perils. This appearance may initially seem serene, even beautiful, but it is an illusion. Beneath her outward appearance lies a horrifying entity, driven by a need to avenge her tragic end. The spirit therefore becomes a representation of a life taken too soon, a soul that has not found rest, origins, and transformation. The story of the Pontianak begins with the tragic death of a woman during childbirth. Her untimely death led to her spirit being consumed with anger, sorrow, and unresolved emotions. In some variations of the legend, it is said that Kuntilanak's spirit was so filled with grief and rage that it grew into the Pontianak appearance and characteristics. The Pontianak is often described as a woman dressed in white, her long black hair hanging loosely over her face. The most distinctive feature of the Pontianak is her face, which can appear sweet and alluring, only to morph into something grotesque. While the Pontianak is often depicted as a female ghost, some variations of the story present her as a shape-shifting entity that can appear in various forms to trick or deceive those who encounter her. The Pontianak's haunting cry. One of the most well-known traits of the Pontianak is her high-pitched, blood-curdling scream, which can be heard echoing through the night. In folklore, it is believed that the scream can be heard in the distance when the Pontianak is approaching the Pontianak's victims. The Pontianak is often said to prey on men, particularly those who are alone and vulnerable. Some versions of the legend claim that the Pontianak's spirit is driven by the anger over the loss of her child. The Pontianak is relentless in her pursuit, and once she has chosen a victim, there is little chance of escape. Cultural significance and protection. In Southeast Asian cultures, the Pontianak is a figure of both fear and reverence. To protect oneself from the Pontianak, various rituals and traditions have been passed down through generations. In some regions, it is also said that the Pontianak can be repelled by specific prayers or offerings made to the spirit. Conclusion: the Pontianak is not merely a ghost story. She is a symbol of the unresolved trauma caused by death in childbirth. Her legend serves as a reminder that some born from the deepest of human emotions: loss, anger,